Peace and greetings and welcome back to the Soup, man. Thanks for tuning in. For this episode, it's me, Les, and my man UH. We riding Ace Deuce like we started off way back in '86, riding the Ace Deuce for Ace Deuce show. Shout out to Panero, man. Shout out to P, man. We thinking about you and your loved ones, man, at this particular point in time. But the show must go on. And on this episode of the Soup, before I get into the rundown, UH, man, how are you? How was your week this week, man?
It was actually cool, man. I've been doing a lot of homeowner stuff. Jay moved out, so no more Nisi here for at least 6 months. And went and furnished that room and trying to decide if I want to get a roommate in here. Just enjoying my peace and deciding on how long just which direction to move with it. If I'm not mistaken, though, speaking of '86, did you have a Buick Century back then? Was that a Century? Was that a young Century?
Yeah, my pops had a '85 Century and the '86 LeSabre. So
yeah, the Sabre, the blue LeSabre used to go higher. I remember that.
Yeah, we was turning the corner. We was turning the corner in the 4-door. Whatever happened. You know what I'm saying? Rolling Mob Deep before Mob Deep.
All right, no doubt. That's my guy right there.
Peace to those days, man. But on this particular episode, man, we got a lot to get into. We got a lot to go over because last week, as y'all probably know, we weren't around, but we are back and in full effect. And as always, man, please share, subscribe, and comment down below. But on this episode, we have to get into the Democratic convention and will Kamala Harris and Coach Walz, will they receive a bounce from the convention? Also, we want to talk about Don Lemon. Don Lemon hit the streets. Don Lemon been off the radar since CNN hit him on the chopping block. So he done surfaced back and he was walking the streets of Chicago, the main streets of Chicago, and talking to some of the brothers and sisters and seeing how they felt about the convention and how they felt about Kamala Harris. So we want to get into that and break that down. Also, man, looks like UH Stephen A hasn't been in the Soup lately, but it seems like Dr. Umar wants his spot for some reason, because he is always in the Soup.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Something to say, whether it's ill-formed or informed, they're going to put their spin on it. And that, who I'm talking about, you probably bump into this cat on the regular because you right around the corner from him down there in the 404. And who I'm speaking of is Mr. JD, Mr. Jermaine Dupri himself. He has something to say about VP Harris. Also, man, we're going to talk about, since we weren't on last week, and I know we might be backtracking a little bit, but we definitely have to broach this topic. We want to talk about Micheal Rubin and what he had to say on the Breakfast Club in front of Charlemagne the Scab and DJ Envy about the black community and what he dislikes about the black community. You know what I mean? And also, not to forget one of our elders. We got to respect our elders, even in the light that they sometimes, even the elders do things that make you raise an eyebrow or say, what the hell? And what I'm speaking of a black woman who was profiting off of Trump paraphernalia in the great state of Virginia. So we're going to talk about that a little bit on this episode. So yeah, man, those are some of the things that we're going to talk about on this episode of the Soup. But UH, man, let's go back to the beginning and let's start with the convention. How much of the convention, if any, did you get under this week? I know you on the grind, you got your nose to the grind and all of that, but were you able to see any of the convention?
I watched, I would say, probably 60% of it live, right? Okay. No, maybe about 40% of it live, but then I caught the majority of it through clips on YouTube. So I got to see Barack, I got a chance to see Hakeem, I got a chance to see Michelle. I got a chance to watch Tim Wall speech in full effect. Obviously, my girl AOC, I peeped her. I peeped your boy, too, from Maryland. I peeped him, Young Les. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. It was different. It was energetic. It was like a black church service compared to a white church service, which was the RNC. But it was good. It was good to see people energized, and it's good to see a new generation, a generation that we can relate to, our generation, basically, like you said, the hip hop generation, actually take control of at least one party in America. It was interesting. I loved it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of momentum bumps for Ms. Harris because of this. I just want to keep it going because I'm definitely voting for it.
Yeah, man. I would on a grading scale, I would give it a solid A. I'm not gonna go overboard and give it an A plus or A plus or a B plus. I'm gonna give it a solid A. I thought they hit what they needed. They constantly painted who Trump was from the beginning until the end. They had one of the guards from the Capitol come out and bless the crowd and give his piece. You know what I'm saying? They had the Israeli family whose son is over in capture over in Gaza right now. They had them to come out and speak. Then you also have to say, in our lifetime, we've never seen the GOP come to the Democratic convention and bill and actually say their piece. Again, if you look at that, has to show folks about how dangerous Trump is. And like you were saying, if you were to compare and contrast the RNC with the DNC, it's like basically a cookout compared to going to a wake.
We want to remind all our delegates, our alternates and guests, that maintaining order during the roll call is extremely important.
It is our honor to cast 31 votes for our next president, Donald J. Trump.
If the convention is not in order, it's difficult for the secretary or presiding officer to hear the vote announcement.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. Five, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what?
In the spirit of good trouble, Georgia cast 123 votes for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
I would have to say, it was well done. Some of the speakers that you mentioned, we're going to get into some of those. Obviously, I call Barack the real big homie. Everybody has a big homie, but that's the real big homie. So I call him the real big homie. The real big homie, and Micheal definitely laid it down, do what they do. You know what I mean? It's, if you think about, for me, if you think about a power couple, that's it right there, the Obamas. And not to say that they shit don't stink, because it does, just like everybody else's. But you look at them and it gives you uplift and it gives you hope when you see them up there on the grand stage doing what they do. And also, and you look at the DNC convention, man, it was multicultural. It wasn't a whole bunch of just all Europeans and a couple black faces sprinkled in the crowd. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into that about MAGA and the black megas and their perspectives on things. I got a couple cuts I want to share with you. But before we go any further, man, let's check out pieces of some of the people you mentioned and their speeches. We want to look at Hakeem. We didn't mention DL. DL came and laid it down for the brothers. So let's go ahead and check out a couple of these speeches real quick and come back and build on that.
Your boy Dr. Umar is becoming like an onion in the soup now. He's like an onion. We done got a potato, a carrot,
He's a main ingredient right about now.
Peace and Pan-Africanism.
The dude don't stop.
Hey now, hey Chicago, how y'all doing? What's happening in California? No, wait, where those AKAs at? Where they at? You know what? In 3 months, ain't gonna be no living with y'all. I can tell you this. I don't blame Donald Trump for not wanting to debate Kamala. I've been married to a black woman for 40 years and I ain't won one debate. I'm owing $93,000. Now, of course, Trump is saying that Kamala isn't black. I guarantee you this. Kamala's been black a lot longer than Trump's been a Republican. And if he keeps sliding in the polls the way he is, the only way he can keep Kamala out of the White House is if he buys it and refuses to rent it to her.
Classic.
Of course, Kamala's getting broad support. They got black
Factual.
men for Kamala, white men for Kamala, Latinos and Asians for Kamala. They even have Republicans for Kamala. Republicans for Kamala. I guess Donald Trump will finally know what it's like when you get left for a younger woman.
White dudes for Harris.
But seriously, Kamala knows the truth about the American dream, that hard work is not enough. Hard work alone is not enough to succeed, that you need access and information and opportunity. And she knows that some folks are often denied those very things. As president, she will give each and every one of us a fair shot in life. But I have to admit, I didn't always believe that. If you told me the 15-year-old me would be on stage supporting a prosecutor and a teacher, there is no way that I would have believed you. But because of that, I made assumptions about Kamala's record. And I often repeated them to a lot of people. Then one day, Kamala invited me to her house. She put her hand on my shoulder and she asked me to do some research. Something I had never done. Something a lot of people I know had never done before. Imagine attacking someone's character without a single Google search. So I did what I should have done in the first place. I learned that she had done for us exactly what she promised to. I believe that your apology should be as loud as your accusation, and I'm here apologizing in front of the whole damn world. I was wrong, and I'm so very glad I was wrong because Kamala, you give me hope for the future, a future where my grandchildren, Nola and Stevie, had the freedom to control their own bodies, where they have the opportunity to go as far as their wits and their talents would take them. That future, ladies and gentlemen, is possible, but only if we elect Kamala Harris as the 47th president of the United States of America.
So yeah, that was, DL, the big homie, going up there and in front of the world and speaking his truth. And I wanted to bring that clip of DL on to springboard into the next thing we're going to go into. But before we move on, DL Hughley to get up there, man, and speak realness, man. What was your thoughts on that real quick?
I loved it because that's what a lot of people that I've seen have used as an excuse why they're not voting for, because of some California weed and taking over, letting people leave people too long in jail. Just take the time and do your research is what we say every week. And it proves it, you know what I mean? Because once you do your research and you think with a logical mind, you see that, oh, this actually didn't happen, or this happened because of that, or this number isn't what it's supposed or what it's been told to be. I'm glad to see that he's done something that a lot of us really don't do in this internet age, which is publicly apologize. A lot of people, I always tell people, I don't apologize and I don't lie. You know what I mean? But yeah, obviously you have to do both of those things. That's like times. But it's good to see that someone who took the time to correct their wrong and did the best thing that's for the country that they love, because we all really truly do love America. We may not be as extreme as maggots, but we all love the same. We all love what we live in, man. And it's good to see that people realize that she's the best choice for our way of life.
Before we go on, let's take a brief snippet of Hakeem Jeffries and our girl Jasmine.
Oh, Jasmine Crockett dropped it too. That is right.
Jazz Crockett. So let's check that out real quick.
That's my boo right there. I like me some Jasmine Crockett.
It's a high honor and a distinct privilege as a Brooklynite, New Yorker, and as an American to stand before you today and unequivocally express my support for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be the next president and vice president of the United States of America. Over the last few years, House Democrats have been hard at work, and we could not have asked for a better leader to partner with than President Joseph Robinette Biden, who will go down as one of the most consequential presidents of all time. Last month, President Biden selflessly passed the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris, who is ready, willing, and able to fight for the people. 76 days left. There are only 76 days left. We must continue to speak up. We must continue to show up. We must continue to stand up, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans. And when we do, nothing can stop Kamala Harris from becoming the 47th president of the United States of America. Nothing can stop House Democrats from taking back the majority. Nothing can stop the American people from continuing our march toward a more perfect union. Nothing can stop us. We're all the way up. God bless you. God bless Kamala Harris. May God bless the United States.
The United States of America.
The Brooklynite is always going to keep it hip hop, even though that's the BX with Joe Crack. You know what I mean? So let's jump in real quick on Jazz real quick, and let's see what Little Mama had to say real quick. One time.
Please welcome Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett.
Well, good evening, America! On November 5th, our nation will hire a president, a commander-in-chief, and leader of the free world. So let's compare their resumes, shall we? One candidate worked at McDonald's while she was in college at an HBCU. HU. The other was born with a silver spoon in his mouth and helped his daddy in the family business. Housing discrimination, that is. She became a career prosecutor while he became a career criminal. With 34 felonies, 2 impeachments, and 1 porn star to prove it. As an elected district attorney, attorney general, and senator, she's always worked for one client, the people. Meanwhile, he's a 78-year-old, lifelong predator, fraudster, and cheat, known for inciting violent mobs. Listen, y'all. He's only looked out for one person, himself. As women are dying, he is bragging about overturning Roe. And y'all know I come from Texas. And right now in Texas, come on, Texas. But right now in Texas, they want to institute the death penalty. That is a problem. While Kamala Harris is fighting for our reproductive rights to be restored. I hear alliterations are back in style. We deserve better. We deserve a president who can be a bright light in a sea of darkness. One who will pull us forward, because we won't go back. Amanda Gorman said it best. There's always light if only we are brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it. Kamala Harris showed me that light. And America, when she is our president, together we will shine as that beacon of hope and freedom around the world once more. God bless y'all.
So yeah, fam, as we look at both of those two beautiful Black brother and sister, we see the youth movement, right? We see that baton changing hands from the elders to the next generation so that they can start to run, so that they can start to build. You look at that DNC, you had to see that. You, like you mentioned before, Wes Moore, young governor of Maryland. You also got Cory Booker, senator from New Jerusalem, New Jersey, a younger man who can continue to lead. When you saw those two, Hakeem and Jasmine, man, what were your thoughts about those two dynamic speakers right there?
I'm gonna reverse them. I'm gonna go with Jasmine first. I enjoy Jasmine. I have my eye on her actually ever since she hit the national scene. So I'm glad to see that she gave a great speech. I'm glad to see that she always constantly defends democracy, represents her people in her district professionally. Takes on the bullshit, for lack of a better word, from the other House members like MTG and her gang of crazies, the QAnon crazies. So,
what's her name? Lauren Boebert from Colorado.
Yeah, the whole crew, the Q crew. I guess that's what they will be called.
Crazies.
Jim Jordan, all these boys. Yeah, so I'm glad to see that she stands up. She's not exactly. She's not in the squad, but she still stands up and does her thing. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to see that. Now, Hakeem Jeffries is a little bit different. I like him a whole lot. However, if you are going to learn how to speak in public, you should not talk with your hands. You know what I mean? Because when you do that, what does it do? It intimidates people. They'll teach you that in public. I don't understand how he is able to execute at such a high level with that basic faux pas. I'll put it that way. But his message was on point. And I love to see, like you say, the younger generation, our generation, coming to the forefront of politics, because these guys have had it for a long time, man. Joe Biden been there in politics for 50 years.
Jim Clyburn. Shout out to Jim Clyburn.
He's a Negro. You know what I'm saying? The Negroes, and I love them. I love Maxine. I love them all. And I appreciate what they've done. But you know what? It's time to move on. We have to have some fresh blood, just like Feinstein got up out of there, Pelosi got up out of there. Let's keep on evolving and changing and becoming more of a representation of what America is. I think you can only do that by getting closer to the majority of the people, which are younger people.
Also, man, we cannot lose sight as well during this election season. Should the Dems win the House and the Senate, Hakeem Jeffries will be the first speaker, black speaker of the House, which is another notch on our belt as a people to show that we out here doing it. All we need is our fair shot. That's basically all we're saying, is we've had the capability to do these jobs and these positions, just like Michelle Obama told Trump, dumbass, the job that you have and that you want is a black job. You fuck around and you're going to find out on November 5th. You feel me?
Yeah.
But as we go back to D.L. Hughley and what D.L. was saying about being misled and then going out to the masses and quoting, parroting the nonsense that he ingested and then was going to put it out on his platform as if it was actual facts. And the reason why I want to go back to that, man, as I said, man, Don Lemon went out in the streets of Chicago and he interviewed a couple African Americans. And hey, this is the media, so you always have to take it with a grain of salt. We don't know how many people he talked to, and we don't know which people did he choose to air and which people did he not choose. You have to always think that way as well. At least that's how we look at things. You know what I mean? You have to look at it from both sides and all the way around.
Understanding of the situation.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick, man, and then we're going to come back and do what we do.
I've been talking to a lot of black men. They say they're supporting Donald Trump. Do you believe that? But who are you voting for?
Donald Trump.
Trump. I have to go Trump, man.
You said Trump. Yes, I think they are, and I think the reason why, the money he gave away last time he was in office,
gave away
or again.
What money?
It was illegally or legally. The PPP loans, stimulus, stuff like that.
That wasn't him.
Who was that?
It was a Democratic Congress.
Oh, that was,
he doesn't give away money.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what they probably think that's what the case is.
You know, they're actually looking and seeing who's going to benefit me more. Let me not just make a blind vote.
He run with the color people. He run with our type. That's why we like him, because he's more for us.
I think Black men, they want something different. They don't just want to follow the black vote.
Are y'all in the same household?
Yes, sir.
He feel like his vote doesn't count almost. That's the part that's discouraging.
The top people see a difference, but the bottom people don't see a difference too much. It takes a long time for to see a difference.
Stuff happened with George Floyd. I say he gave us stimulus checks. Even though that was nothing, he didn't have to do that. He still blessed us with stimulus checks.
He didn't his checks. He didn't want to do it. That was a Democratic Congress. He only held it up to get his name on the check.
I did not know that.
Ain't no shit.
F Trump, man. I don't like Trump no more. F Trump. Kamala Harris. Kamala for president. Kamala for president.
I feel like they're brainwashed, honestly. He's not for us. He can't denounce white supremacy, setting rappers free, pardoning rappers to try to get the sympathy vote from black people, and they fall for it.
Real shit.
So, out of what? How many was it? I didn't even count how many, but it was one that who was standing on some type of principles other than he gave out money. When you see that, and then you go back to what DL said about being misled, and then you taking it and championing it like it's scary, bro. It literally is real scary. When you see Don Lemon out there in the Chicago streets talking to us and the ignorance of us, what goes through your mind, yo?
I can say this. I'm going to say two quick things. When they talked about their vote doesn't matter, I always point to the fact that I'm in Georgia. And Donald Trump literally tried to take my vote so that he can ascend to the president, basically steal the presidency of the United States. So voting does matter. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't pass these laws to minimize voting stations in certain areas. They would not allow you not to give away water. Things of these, they wouldn't use voter suppression if votes didn't matter. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm not in Chicago, but you know what I am on? I am on the internet. And every time I run into a black person, and I'm not going to mention this person's name, but this is somebody that we've known for a long time on the low. I happened to run across a post of a boy talking about putting a picture of Kamala up with the clown mask on. I was like, are you serious? You got to stop falling for the Democratic Party and so on. So I'm like, listen, man. So I could buy you for $1,200 that I really borrowed, that I got from somebody else. Is that what you're saying? You know what I mean? Because that's basically what it boils down to. People are talking about they want to vote for Trump because either they got that free to 100 or they missed out on the PPA or the EDILs or whatever other programs they had, which he didn't want to put into effect. And they're hoping that he comes back and does the same thing. But guess what? That's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Hopefully, number one, he doesn't win the election. And number two, we don't have to go through a pandemic where we lose 1 million Americans. People are dying to the point where you're giving away, where you have to sign off of free money. So it's absolutely crazy to me whenever I see people online disparaging Miss Harris and giving praise to Donald Trump. I just really, truly don't understand it. That's the people who see memes and see statements and see news clips and flashes and snippets and shorts, and that determines their viewpoint as opposed to taking 2 minutes longer to do some actual research. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, man, it's frightening. It's disappointing. But then I thought about it. I said, I guess white people feel the same way about MAGA. Regular thinking, clear thinking white people think about MAGA. Like we think about the uninformed black people who say stupid shit like, I'm voting for Trump because he chopped out $1,200.
I got $1,200 right now. I will buy a nigga to do everything I want to do around my house.
They broke it down. They like that $1,200 was broke down to 75 cents a day for a year. And you break that down. It's like for 75 cents a day for a year, that y'all willing to risk it all or praise this man when he didn't do anything. Y'all was hoodwinked and bamboozled because he wanted to make sure his name was on the checks. It's also, man, one of the most moving moments of the DNC convention, man, was when the Exonerated Five came out, when they came out with Al Sharpton.
go back.
Real talk.
And Yusuf Salam, who is now in local government there in New York.
No doubt.
I love these guys. These are my brothers. These are my brothers. Yes, indeed. America. I am Yusuf Salam. A New York City councilman representing my hometown of Harlem. That's right.
And it just goes to show, man, and these people, one of these black folks want to praise him for not giving you $1,200. If it was up to him, y'all wouldn't have got $1.20, let alone $1,200. Look how long his history he was that he blocked African Americans from living in his apartments way back in Queens, way back in the day. You know,
68. Before we even touch down, come on, man.
It's disturbing to me, man, when I see brothers out here so ignorant, so blatantly ignorant, and it's like they say it with their chest. You know, oh, he gave us $1,200. He gave us $1,200. You know, like that $1,200. All you did was smoke it or drink it up.
Or give it to somebody who was doing something underhanded.
Somebody who bangs you in the head that we're gonna double up this $1,200 into something. Would you say when you live in Atlanta, you gotta have what?
You gotta have a job, a hustle, and a scam.
You know what I mean? And that's crazy that everybody is out here underhandedly. And the biggest gangster of them all is out here, man, barefaced, just lying to folks, man. But what I want to do now is let's go back to Don Lemon, and Don Lemon talked to some females this time.
Here we go.
I feel like every time they don't want.
How are you feeling about the election?
I'm going for Trump. I feel like every time they don't want somebody who is good for us to win, they throw somebody black in our face thinking that's going to make us vote for the black person.
Every time.
I voted for Obama because he was black. I don't want to vote for her because she's the first black woman to run for president or to win.
I don't vote.
I want Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I want Donald
Why
Trump.
do you apologize?
I know nobody likes him, but we had good times with Donald Trump.
I'm running for Trump.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I just always been a fan of his, so that's what I'm running for.
I used to be against Trump. I used to live in Virginia. I saw the bad side of it, but really moving to Cleveland, I saw the other side of it.
I'm supporting Trump.
Because?
Because it has to change.
Yeah.
It has to change. I vote more for what fits me better as a person rather than voting for the black person or voting for the first woman. So
What do you think about Kamala Harris?
I think they say she's phony and fake. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like Trump saying, what are you? So I'm not feeling her. People get mad about it. I'm just not feeling her.
I don't like her the way she speaks, the giddiness, the laughing. Everything's a joke, and it's not a joke. We're in trouble.
I'm going for Trump. Kamala was on Biden's team. I don't like Biden. Gas wasn't this high when Trump was our president. Food wasn't this high. I'm going for Trump.
So yeah, now you have, once again, you had the brothers that were ill-informed. Now you got the young black folks uninformed, and you had the European where we knew where she was gonna go with it, just because. Again, man, what the hell? What the hell?
Man, you know what it is? I'm telling you, man, people have a short memory, man. Maybe the people don't remember 2019, 2018, 2017. Maybe they don't remember how bad it was and how cops was just shooting black people and how, you know what I'm saying, how shit was just crazy and this man was in the news every day.
Racists were running people over with their car in Virginia, and people was walking in the streets with tiki torches talking about Jews will not replace us, but it was good on both sides.
Mm-hmm. No, you good. And it was okay that he was telling cops to knock your head on the door before they throw you in the car. Come on, man. Like, that Jeff Sessions a Klansman was actually the Attorney General. Yo, what? Yo, that shows you, man. Like, I've been wanting to say this, and I've been trying to think of a good way to say it, but memes aren't facts and or history. I don't know how else to say it, man. Memes aren't facts or history, bro. Like, we have people, rest in peace, right behind your left-hand shoulder who passed because of this damn fool. I got mad people, at least 5 people out of that passed because of this fool's mismanagement of COVID. People that I knew. What's up, Don? What's up, Ricky? What's up, this person? You know what I'm saying? So why would we want to go back to that? Are the things that we lost during COVID worth the $1,200? Honestly, are the things that we lost worth the $1,200 that he gave? Now, I made a gang of money during his presidency just because of my field that I was in at the time. But all in all, when it came down to the fact that, do I vote for myself or do I vote for us as a whole, as Americans, as what I grew up pledging allegiance to a flag for? There's nowhere in the world I will vote for that fool. Nowhere in the world. And every time I get into it with Trump people, I just say to them, man, January 6, 2021. There's no way in the world that you can be a supporter of, that you can say you love America, or that you're a patriot, or that you're a true American or a proud American if you support this guy after January 6, 2021. It's crazy to me. Crazy.
Like I was saying to you just a couple moments ago, man, it's disturbing how people are so uninformed and so willing to stand on what they're saying like it is actual. Don Lemon didn't even ask this lady, any of them, why you're voting for him, why? And everybody want to say, like you were saying, we were doing so much better. Like, they skipped right over 2020 when we were all shut down, not moving and not doing anything. And he was out the top lying and saying, oh, it's one person coming in from China. That's
drink some bleach.
Right. Can't you shoot light into your body to kill?
Ultraviolet light down your throat.
It was insane, the things that he was saying and the things that he was doing. And for people to sit up there and say that they were voting for him, and then the one girl said that she was voting for him because of her interests. What are your interests? What do you do for a that
she must be a billionaire on the low.
You are really benefiting from Trump's tax breaks, huh? You, like you said, you are a billionaire on your off time because you're voting for him because of your needs, not because Kamala Harris is black. It's crazy. I blame guys like this for the misinformation and the stupidity out there. Let me give you this.
Yo, out here getting these 5 miles in, as you see me do every day. Real quick, I want to talk about the DNC. I feel like the DNC has been going amazing, but I also feel like tonight Kamala Harris has a pretty difficult job. And it's interesting because the Republican correspondent that's been doing the roundup after the DNC has ended, he asked the question that I asked Kamala when we had our second meeting. If, you know, the fact that she's in office right now, she's in the White House right now. And the guy, he said, what makes y'all believe that she's gonna get this stuff done if she becomes president and she's already in the House? And it's a tricky question because I asked Kamala basically the same thing in so many words. And I asked her, as the vice president, why they don't let her talk when Biden seems like he needs, or he needed, someone to speak up for him. I thought that's what the role of the vice president was, to help the president. And basically, she let me know that her hands was tied, that they didn't really allow her to be a voice like that in that space.
Of course
and
not.
Tonight, I don't know if she's gonna. I want to see how if she even touches on this, because if she doesn't touch on it, that's the question that I feel like the people that have mixed decisions about voting for her. This is one of the questions. This is the top question that they had, and like I said, this is what the Republicans are saying. And they never heard the part about her hands being tied. And if she says something about her hands being tied, then it makes it look like the White House or the Democratic Party didn't really want her to exceed. So she can't really say her hands was tied, but she does have to step into that space.
Exceed?
This is something I do believe.
Well, first of all, let me just say this. Because we have talked, I think it was Amanda Diva.
Yeah.
We talked about the vice president and what the vice president's role is as being vice president. Jermaine Dupri needs to keep walking until he walk off the end of the planet. Because dummy, she is the vice president. She does not have an agenda. She has to work off of what Biden's agenda is. She is not to go in and say, yo, B, we need to make this move over here. We over here with it. We ain't over there. We over here with it. So I show that JD to go back to the ignorance of the women and the dudes, because they seeing JD just like we just saw him. And because he is who he is, it's actual, because he's saying it makes it real. As uninformed and dumb as he looks or is, just because you're a Jermaine Dupri dude, and first of all, I don't trust nobody that's a grown-ass man that hang around with kids.
He had to get that bag. He had to get that bag.
It makes no difference. I still don't trust no grown-ass man who hangs around kids unless they a teacher or a coach or something like that. Nah, man. Jermaine Dupri, Lord.
JD is kind of like, even though JD is a legendary, and I'm not going to take anything away from him musically, right? He's a legendary hip hop producer. He's obviously one of the reasons why Atlanta is on the map. I've been to his studio, which is about maybe 2-3 miles from my house. And I'm glad to see that he has at least started to get some type of respect on a national level. However, I think these people, and like I said about Amanda the other week, have overvalued their influence. Nobody really gives a fuck what Jermaine Dupri thinks. Now, if Miss Harris wanted to meet with you twice, which we made it be known, she probably got more out of it than you did, because obviously she was trying to check a pulse. People don't understand that a lot of times when people meet with you, it's not to come to an agreement, it's to come to an observation and to reach a conclusion. You know what I mean? I have meetings with people all the time, literally all the time. And I go just to figure out what their agenda is. You know what I mean? I don't go to bring a conclusion or to have a resolution. No, I go to find out exactly what they're all about. So I think he overestimates his influence, because on a list of Atlanta influencers, he may be legendary, but I don't think that he is highly ranked, if you know what I mean. And I've been here for 22 years, 23 years, going on 23 years. Like I said, I respect what he does musically, but homeboy, stay in your lane. Your lane is music. Don't switch over and try to get into politics and all that. I know you supported Shirley. I remember him supporting Shirley when she was mayor. I don't really remember too much support for Keisha, but I know he was a part of it. He's an integral part of the Atlanta community, so it's always good to see that he's getting some type of recognition, but no, homeboy, stay in your lane. You don't need to do that. It's all good.
So it's a case of, like you said, inflated ego. I'm not even going to say
overvalue influence. Yeah, it is.
It is an egomaniac. You know what I'm saying? If you were in a meeting and it was a meeting with Kamala Harris, then I'm sure it was not an ace deuce like we hear right now. She was meeting with a group of folks and you were in that meeting. I'm taking it with a grain of salt and with everything that you saying, just because of what you are saying.
Exactly.
Because obviously, first and foremost, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't know what the role of the vice president is. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, she's in the office right now, but she is the vice president. Joe Biden is the president. So she is not running anything other than what Joe Biden delegates her to go do.
Yeah, she's like a running back. The quarterback has to handle the ball. That's probably the simplest analogy for it. She's a running back. She blocks. She may catch some stuff out the backfield, but Joe Biden is the president. He has to get her the ball, and she goes where he wants her to go. So come on, man.
Like you said, she is a player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, an essential player on the team. And
maybe a wide receiver, she might not even get the ball sometimes. It might be a running play. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Exactly. She gets the ball when Biden decides to go
throw the ball.
You know what I mean? Point.
Yeah. That's it.
You know, it is not her job to go in there and say, "This is what I want."
I'm running a Wildcat. I'm running a Wildcat. She's not running a Wildcat. You know what I'm saying? She got to wait for the ball to be handed to her, thrown to her. So come on, man. That's what I say, man. And this is so funny to me, Fro, because I used to always watch education systems and be like, and I've taught adults as I've been an adult learning, you know what I mean? So I've seen the egregious and I've seen the brilliant as far as education systems are concerned. But regardless of your level of reading comprehension, to not understand civics has always been a problem with me. Because if you don't know what keeps you in line, then you are bound to fall out of step and out of line. You know what I mean? So the more you understand about how civics works, the more you understand how to avoid police disasters, the more you understand how to get your sidewalk fixed, the more you understand how to call 911, the more you understand which hospitals to go to, the more you understand civics, man, because those are local things that are local, the better it makes your life. So it's just really goes back to education, man. And I really, you can tell who was in the rumps and who wasn't at this time.
So yeah, man, please share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out
notification.
Shout out to Panero, man. We'll see you next week, Lord. It's painful, man, to see the ignorance. But again, it's not just us that have the ignorance problem, because the Europeans, they have it, and they have it at a whole greater scale than what we do. And as I said, I blame the internets for people not doing their due diligence still. They take it, they get this information from Jermaine Dupri, and that makes it so. That makes it actual. This next person has been in the soup so many times, man. He is basically an ingredient in the soup.
Onion. He's an onion now. We got an onion. Who's the onion?
We got a big onion. We've got a Pan-African onion.
No,
in the soup. Yeah.
Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
Yes. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
Where's the school?
I'm speaking, and we've been talking about people being misinformed and our people being misinformed, and it has a lot to do with where they get their information from. And Dr. Umar
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Yes, peace and Pan-Africanism, peace.
Oh my God! Where's the school?
Is one of these guys.
The Onion. He's the Onion.
Who has a platform, and there's a lot of things. There's a good portion of things. I'm gonna put it that way. There's a good portion of things. I'm not gonna say a lot. There's a good portion of things that I agree with Dr. Umar.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Positive and negative.
There are a myriad of things that I agree with him. But on this particular issue, I'm so far away from him, man. I might as well be in Africa. That's how far away we are on this topic. So let me go ahead and show you real quick what Dr. Umar
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism
has to say real quick. Because he was in the news, because he's screaming on folks saying Kamala Harris and the Democrats are trying to buy the black vote. So let's see what Dr. Umar
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism
had to say on
Dr. Onion. We start calling him Dr. Onion.
This is real ancestral energy over here. I'm not no Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey. You don't drop no check off and say, get the Negroes to the plantation on November the 4th. You don't drop no check off and say, get the Negroes to the plantation.
Go on and collect.
Kamala Harris for president. Thank you very much.
I approve this message.
Absolutely for free. If you try to offer me 10,000, I'm gonna quit talking to you.
Well, let me just say, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, he fuck with the low too. Load out up in the joint. This must have been before he really went King Kong consciousness, because he got.
Let me tell you. I see with the lavish coordination with the gold tie, and the gold horse. I peep him, but you know who was my least favorite celebrity of all time?
Steve Harvey.
It is. Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Listen though, but Steve, let's get it.
All right, so here we go. Dr. Umar Johnson took to Instagram last Thursday to be exact. He said he was offered $10,000 to do an interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. And to say that he believed.
Now, first of all, why would the Harris-Walz ticket petition Dr. Umar to move and shake for them?
There's no, and listen, I'm going to say this very clear. There's no fucking way that they would do that, because she's married to a white guy. They know, anybody who knows about Dr. Umar knows his stance on interracial couples. So I'm finding that to be extremely doubtful from the beginning.
As we continue on,
other celebrities are being paid to support Vice President Kamala for her bid for the White House, right? Umar specifically called you out, Steve. He called out Ricky Smiley. He claimed that both of you were paid to support Kamala Harris's campaign. Here's what he said.
But if we're going to be honest, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, and I love you both, no hate to my big brothers, but if we're going to be honest, Ricky Smiley and Steve Harvey, y'all only carried on because y'all got paid to carry on. Can we please be honest? Can we see? I want y'all to understand, overstand, and understand what King Kong is talking about. Y'all
King Kong? This nigga King Kong now? Oh my God.
Carry on.
King Kong of consciousness. You didn't know that?
Oh my.
Fuck out of here.
You gotta get the Pan-African drop.
Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities, paying you to shame black people into voting. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of that vote. Y'all know we're not going to get nothing out of the vote, but they.
That's another thing that I have a question with the community. Can I come to the front of the church?
Please, definitely.
What in the hell do black folks think that we are going to get do they think that they're going to grant everybody a Cadillac and 2 credit cards or something in their driveway? Why do they always say we are not going to? I want to know, what is it that we are wanting or are we expecting to get?
I'll just say this real quick. I guess the closest thing that I would think that we would want would probably be the Black Panthers 10-point program in my eyes, you know what I'm saying? But we're not a monolith. So what's important to Dr. Umar,
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism,
may not be important to my next door neighbor, you know what I mean? So you can't say what we want, you know what I mean? What we want out of this election is democracy and freedom. It's pretty simple, bro.
Simple. As we continue.
Being paid, y'all being bought. They offered me $10K for an interview with Kamala Harris. I don't want your money, but we can definitely do the interview.
We've had Vice President Harris on the show many times, so let's address this bogus claim. Please, Steve.
We're going to have her on her again, or how many other times it's needed to get her into office. Brother Umar, let me say this, man. I absolutely love some of the things you say. I really do, man. Some of the stuff I don't always agree with, but ain't nobody got to agree with everything I say. But let me clear the air on something.
Please.
You can't hire Steve Harvey for $10,000 to do nothing. Hey, that out.
Now, see, he done fucked up by giving a bullshit number off the top. You know what I'm saying? He might as well said $5,500.
$20. $1,200.
He gave him a
stimulus. $1,200, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I need that. I give you $1,200 for this shit.
And listen, fam. Listen, Lord, I'm right there with you. I am no fan of Steve Harvey, but I am glad that he took the time to address the King Kong of consciousness.
Yeah, he needed to. He needed to on this one. He had to. I don't like his shirt. I don't like his shirt. Ain't got no collar though. He's a mad suspect.
That is sus. But as we continue on,
you got that number from. But you can't offer Steve Harvey $10,000 to do nothing. You can go through the industry and ask about me. Bro, let me tell you something. Omar, let me tell you something, man. And I don't hate here at all, because I like some of the work he does. I really do. Yeah. Listen, man, I don't do nothing for $10,000. Don't even insult. Don't insult the brand equity that I've built over these 30 years of television. I just don't, man. And I'm doing this absolutely free of charge because I want this country to be in her hands as opposed to Donald Trump's hands. That's why I do it. Now, me and Ricky Smiley happen to be.
Oh, of course. Now, this is a couple days ago, right, fam? Of course, King Kong consciousness after Steve Harvey says what he says.
Back. You know he got to come back.
Like, come back like Rocky. Here we go.
Dr. Onion.
Television debate. I want a television debate.
Come on.
Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley.
Is this motherfucker in a PT Cruiser? What the hell is he in? What type of back window is that? What is that?
Yo, that's the
what's
them little shits? Cause I've toured them before. What's them little shits, dog? Oh, the little
a Rogue?
No, that's the little British cars, the little quick ones, the little
Mini Cooper.
Yep, that's a Mini Cooper.
This 6'6" King Kong consciousness stepping out of a Mini Cooper, yo.
That's exactly what it is. That's a Mini Cooper. I know that interior.
African people. Roland Martin can join into. If they want Roland, they can bring Roland too.
Come on.
I want D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, and Ricky Smiley in a debate. Is the Democratic Party the party of the American African? Somebody get Steve Harvey on the phone. Somebody get DL Hughley on the phone. Somebody get Ricky Smiley, Dr. Umar.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Wants to come on y'all show and debate you 3-on-1. And if y'all need Roland to help you out, Roland can come too. We can make it 4-on-1. Steve Harvey said that the Omega Psi Phi brothers run the radio. In all respect to my Omega Psi Phi brothers, the late great Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was a member of Omega Psi Phi, so I'm not going to reduce the Omegas down to 3 men. I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep this about Steve, DL, and Ricky. Okay? Steve, DL, and Ricky. I want a debate. DL Hughley, will you debate me on the radio? Steve Harvey, will you debate me on your radio?
I can answer for you, Omar. No.
No, absolutely fucking not.
Radio. Ricky Smiley, will you debate me? I'll debate all of you separately or all 3 of you together. Since y'all run black radio, and I run black consciousness, it's only that we have a clash of kings. Y'all called the kings of comedy, right? The kings of comedy? Let's call it the kings of comedy versus King Kong consciousness. Let's call it the kings of comedy versus King Kong.
Where is he? Is he at the park and go? What's going on?
Man, come on, man.
Is he at Walmart?
This dude right here is just...
Yeah, Target? Is he just in the car, just
screaming at his phone? He in the car screaming at his phone, son.
Steaming it up?
Consciousness. Let's call it the kings of comedy versus King Kong consciousness.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
I'm ready right now. I don't need no prep time. I'm ready right now. Intellectual Ifa Tunde is ready right now. When we going to do this debate? When we going to do this debate? Steve, Ricky, DL, I want y'all on the stage in front of the people right now.
So there you have it. Again, influencer, shyster.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
I'm not going to call him a fraudster, but I could, because this school is nowhere to be built. He doesn't even discuss the school. He don't even ask for donations for the school no more. I don't know what happened to that. What happened? Why no more donation for the school? The school is just now lost in the wilderness like Ricky and DL and Steve. No consciousness with the school, because the school is just a fragment of his imagination. Dr. Umar, UH.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Dr. Onion, yo, come on, man. Like, it's interesting because the last time we talked about the Onion, we were like, all of us consensually had him around 82%, right? 80% about the stuff that we agreed on. I'm going to have to take him down. I'm going to have to take him down to about, 66% is passing. I'm going to give him a 66. Because I respect what he's doing. I respect the fact that him being conscious and letting people know about the different things that have happened and are happening with us historically. I have a problem with that. But it's all about attention at this point. Like you said, where's the school, bro? Why are you talking about debating comedians? Why would you want to debate a comedian? Because you know what you're trying to do is he's trying to get attention to be pulled into that sphere of influence. You know what I mean? Because like you say, he gave up on the school. Now he wants to be like a 7-year-old. He wants to be an influencer like a 7-year-old. So consequently, you have a situation where he's just grasping for attention. And I just think that it really takes away from, or actually shows you, who he truly is and what his mission is. He's, like I said, Charleston White, someone who's there for attention. They may be on opposite sides of the scale when it comes to certain things, but they are in fact the same person when it comes to principality because they want to be seen, they want their message to be heard, and they're willing to say and or do whatever it may take to get to the next level. So I don't understand why he thinks he's the epitome or quote unquote the King Kong of consciousness when it comes to Black people or Africans in America. I don't think that he deserves that because I'm pretty sure that I know people who are well more scholarly than him, if you want to take it from that point. And I do know people, who, for instance, personally, like Jason Curry, Rob, just people I know. I'm pretty sure that I know people who are more active in the community than he is. So I don't understand him wanting anything more than internet attention at this point because it's ridiculous. Who's going to debate a comedian?
At this point in time, Kamala Harris said during her speech to accept the nomination, she said Donald Trump was an unserious man. Dr. Umar is
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Is an unserious man.
Yeah, he's not to be taken seriously at this point, dog.
How can you be the king of consciousness and the first Black woman is running for president and you can't find a reason to stand behind her?
He's quick to find a reason not to stand behind her.
But what type of consciousness is he showing with that?
He's not Black. That makes me say, because remember we talked about our definitions of Black a few pods ago, right? We were saying that, I was saying that my definition of Black is to do what? Help Black people move forward at all times, period, right? She's Black. We also talked about demographics. Come on, man. She can't move forward with a Queen Kong consciousness. That's not gonna happen. She's not gonna be president like that. So what are you doing? Why divide us, man?
And that's the thing. You smart enough to know the game she has to play in order to achieve her ultimate goal. You are smart enough to know that. And for you to take a whole nother angle out about it, that's why I said shyster. You are the king of shystiness at this point in time. Because you come on the scene with the upliftment of trying to educate Black men, bringing Black boys to be Black men, and all of a sudden it's poof. That's no longer in your consciousness. I never thought it. It's like that never happened. That's like, when did I say that? That's like some Trump shit. I know nothing about that. That's the type of thing it's on. But again, this goes back to the people in Chicago, man, because how many times is this post on Facebook and how many views is it getting on Instagram? You said that you debated with somebody, not necessarily debated. You listen to somebody that we know talk foolishness, and we all know where he's getting his foolishness from. He's getting it from Dr. Umar. He's getting it from Charleston White. He's getting it from Charlemagne the God. And that's to piggyback off of Dr. Umar.
Good point.
Him disparaging, not helping the situation any. All he's doing is diluting and confusing those that are easy to be diluted and confused.
Let me ask you this: is he 10%?
Yeah,
I agree. Without a question.
There's no question about it. Again, we qualified and quantified how much we agree and disagree with Dr. Umar. Shit, my agreement with him has dropped greatly on his stance just this last week with this nonsense and his campaign that he's on right now, because we all know he's not going to do anything but continue to elevate his disdain and his distance from Kamala Harris. He's not again, it's still a term from the DNC. He's not going back. All he's going to do is continue to double down on, don't support her, she's not Black, and this and that and the third. Now, as we continue on this episode of The Soup, man, please share, subscribe, and comment down low. Shout out to Panero. The Breakfast Club has turned out to be the place where everybody thinks that they're talking to the culture. Is once you go on the Breakfast Club, you are basically speaking to Black folks and everybody else who wants to be a part of the culture.
Urban. You're speaking to an urban audience.
And last week when we were off, Billionaire, who I've said on past episodes, watch this dude. He's a culture vulture. Mark Rubin was on the Breakfast Club, right?
Fanatics, right? Fanatic Sports.
Exactly. He gets on the Breakfast Club. Meek Mill, him and Meek is tight. Meek prior had put out a tweet about him wanting to have the sit down and the conversation with Kamala Harris so he could discuss what he's heard about her record on locking up Black and brown people in California. It's like she was riding around like the truant officer.
Just picking up everybody Black, right?
Yeah, just scooping them up.
That's why I took this job. I hate little motherfuckers like you. Little niggas, you ain't shit.
It's crazy. But again, these people are getting their information from people whose job is to spread misinformation. And they're taking the misinformation and making it trying to make it actual. He caught heat for that, right? People were coming at him. Dude, who the fuck is you to think that you're going to be sat down and talked to and you can question? So he got dragged, right? He was getting dragged on the TL on Twitter. So this coincides with Mr. Rubin popping up on the Breakfast Club. So let's take a listen to what he had to say to the Scab and DJ Skimby.
So first up, in sad news, sending a rest in peace to Beat King. Who was up here with us in conversation, had to come on Twitter and apologize for some comments that he made while he was here. Let's take a listen to the comments first, and then I'll get into the apology.
So one thing I've learned about Black culture that I don't like is that Black hate on hate.
Speak on that more. I heard you say that earlier, and I wanted you to expound on that. You said you don't like to see Black people tearing down other.
Speak on that. In the Scab. Speak on that.
You hear that?
Black people.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like, I want to support look, you guys know me pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Anything I can ever help with, I'm always there.
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone around me to do great. You guys correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think there's a little bit of a Black culture of Black hate on hate. It's like that Black judge that Meek had that hated on him and wanted to go extra hard on him. Okay. It's what people always say to me. It's like Black hate on hate. So I think it's terrible. I think it's something that I think it's culturally wrong. And I'll probably get killed for saying this because you're.
I'm glad you're saying it openly. If this is the conversations that are being
I have
had
it all the time.
I want to hear this.
Yeah. So I think it's wrong.
You had that conversation all the time with who? With your white rich friends?
Yeah.
That's who you had this conversation with?
Exactly.
Like, why do you not want to build everyone up around you? Why do you not want everyone around you to do great?
So after this interview aired, of course, and he knew it. He said it. He said, "I'm gonna get killed for this."
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what started happening. But there were a lot of people online also too agreeing
with him
with what he said as well too. But it was controversial, right? So Micheal Rubin came out yesterday with a tweet. He said, "I got a phone call from one of the people I have the most respect for in the world. They told me while they appreciate my intention, it's not my place to speak on Black culture. I get it and really appreciate the input. My intention was to say how important it is that we need to uplift each other, stop hate on each other, and push each other to win, and always root for each other's successes. My bad, much love, appreciate the feedback." And then he tagged all of us so that we saw it. And then that reignited all of the conversation about well,
first of all, let me say, I blame the motherfucker who reached out to him afterwards for giving him the battery in his back to feel as though that he can go anywhere, especially on live TV, radio, internet, anywhere, and talk about Black culture. I blame that motherfucker, whoever sent that letter to him or email or however they reached out, by making him feel so comfortable that he can speak out on the Black community. When you see that shit and then you see fucking Charlamagne the Scab, yeah, speak on it. What's your thoughts?
It's different. I'm appreciative of his comments, because we get a chance to hear what the white boys talk about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure at some point or another in his real true social circle, which are people that obviously are the heads of industry, elitists, yada, 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 so on and so forth. I'm sure they've had this conversation one way or another. Mike, why are you around all these black guys? And how does that? They're good, but they just don't want to work together. You know what I mean? Now, he is a classic, and use the word a couple of times today, shyster, right? A shyster, and the true definition of a shyster is a Jewish lawyer, right? So what he does is he's manipulated his relationships with the hip hop community to get in and feel comfortable enough where he feels that he can say what he wants to say. And again, it's a situation where somebody overvalues their what? Influence. You know what I mean? I'm glad that he said it because it gives us an insight into some of these backroom discussions that we'll never be a part of. But it's also the fact that we have given him the invitations and we've made him feel comfortable enough so that he can come on and say things like that. You know what I mean? So it's really revealing in more ways than one about the state of our culture.
He is the white boy that sat at the lunch table with his nerd friends and always marveled at the sports players table and always admired the popular kids table. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And as he continued on and went to college, he started admiring hip hop and the hip hop culture and how it's moving and different things of that nature. And he finally, once he got his money and his influence, he was able to welcome the cool people in. He's one of the cool people.
Yeah, real shit. Real shit.
And Meek Mill, who sit around with him and allow him to say nigga and all that shit.
Wow, really?
And it's, I don't know for sure, but why wouldn't he? Because I'm sure Meek Mill calling niggas around him all the time. But they such good friends, ain't no telling how they speak to each other. Charlamagne the Scab and DJ Quinvy, they gonna sit up there and slurp it up because they want to, guess what? They want to be at the white party next year.
They gonna be there.
They want to have that in with him.
They gonna be there.
And instead of them saying, what, hold up, man. What do you mean? Let me tell you what I don't like about the Jewish culture. Let me tell you what I don't like about the Europeans. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to sit up here on a black medium
and black people
and say what you don't like about us. Obviously, you like a whole lot about us because you tend to want to be around all the damn time. I found that very alarming, man, for him to get up there and say that shit, man, and for them to sit up there 2 slaps and tell him to preach on preacher. I had a problem with it, man. And then I also had a problem with him and his apology because, like I said, in my way of thinking, it was the dude who called you or tapped you or pulled your collar is the reason why you thought that you could say what you said. Whoever that was. It's just, again, man, we as a people, we're a very accepting folk.
Mm-hmm.
You look at those people in Chicago, they are very accepting of the shit that Donald Trump has done. Just like the one boy that was in the fast food spot. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, of course.
So if you don't know, why are you standing on something like it's the end all be all if you don't know? And it's personal to me because when I see him, I see me, I see my people. And then I had to think in my brain, yo, yeah, I wonder white people feel the same way when they see their people at these fucking Trump rallies saying and talking, spewing stupid shit. As we continue on, man, I want to show you this clip about Black Mega. We're gonna go back to Black MAGA one time, man, because
I got something to say about that too. Yeah, I definitely got something to say about that.
It's frightening. Here we go.
It's frightening.
Black conservatives are everywhere.
That's why I'm here to show my support as a black man for Trump.
Pollsters can't get enough of them.
The historic levels of support the Republicans are getting from black folk under Trump.
Donald Trump is cozying up to them.
Come here, let me give you a hug.
And the RNC was full of them.
President Trump, we have the greatest economy in our lifetime. America is not a racist country.
Can you imagine President Donald Trump coming to a city and calling a pastor like me?
You've probably heard a lot of people talking about Black Republicans, but I spent all of the RNC talking to Black Republicans.
So it is with being a Black conservative. I equate it to being gay back in the 50s or 60s. You didn't come out the closet then.
And so you look at the people who really saying that about Trump. It's not no uppity Negroes. It's Negroes out the real hood.
And that's one reason why I'm pro-Trump and I'm conservative, is because I truly believe in the individualistic approach to the problems that we see within the Black community or in America as a whole.
Black Republicans specifically are some of the most disliked and unpopular political figures within the Black community for a reason.
I'm pissed.
Of the 4 Black Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives, none, 0 represent majority Black districts.
I am royally pissed.
In fact, they all represent majority white districts, something they seem to be very proud of.
South Carolina is majority white, correct? Yeah, it's still. My district is majority white district. Your Utah is majority white district, correct? Michigan, really. Florida, is your district majority white district? How do we get here?
Same last name.
All the white people had to vote for it.
There is an obvious disconnect, and that's what I want to explore today. I wanted to know what draws a Black person to identify with this Republican Party.
Trump has been for Black people, regardless of what the media say, for a long time.
The Bible says we perish through a lack of knowledge, right? So until you teach the people, that's the only way they're going to learn. So it's our job, me especially as a Black conservative, to get out there, get on the ground, and teach these people all about the Black conservative movement. And when you look at the movement now, especially right now, we speaking, baby.
I learned a lot about Black Republicans in these conversations. Their motivations, their stories, their goals. These are real people with genuinely held beliefs that I largely disagree with, and I told them as much.
It wasn't policy. It was white people. It was no. Let's be very clear. It was white people. I
tried to have respectful dialogue with them. So in this video, I want to share these people with you, but I'll also share some of my reflections on the experience of listening to, fact-checking, and disagreeing with Black Republicans. I learned a lot about Black Republicans, and I think you will too. So with that, let's dig in. In talking to Black Republicans, I found that their most consistent ideological North Star was an emphasis on personal responsibility. For those I spoke to, there was a real value for rigid individualism as opposed to collective progress and identity. Take Topher, for example. He's a Christian rapper, has millions of followers online, and believes, according to him, in an individualistic approach to progress for Black people.
And that's one reason why I'm pro-Trump and I'm a conservative, is because I truly believe in the individualistic approach to the problems that we see within the Black community or in America as a whole. And you can think about it, Black Wall Street, Harlem Renaissance, all that time, we was doing great. But when the policies came in and started destroying the Black community slowly and slowly, matter of fact, it was supposed to get rid of poverty or at least lessen it, but we have more poverty now than we had back then.
I think you'll notice a theme of dissonance present in these interviews. On the one hand, for example, Topher endorses an individualistic approach to solving the problems we face as a community. But on the other hand, he points to Black Wall Street or the Harlem Renaissance, communities that I would consider on the Mount Rushmore of Black collective power. And he points to them as times we should look back on with admiration. And the question is, which one is it? Is it rigid individualism where we get it out of the mud on our own? Or is it about creating communities where we work together to build our collective resources? What's also interesting is that somehow for him, these communities no longer exist because of liberal or progressive policy decisions.
But when the policies came in and started destroying the Black community slowly and slowly, matter of fact, it was supposed to get rid of poverty or at least lessen it, but we have more poverty now than we had back then.
I think it's worth pointing out that this more poverty now than back then line is verifiably false. It falls in line with a theme that people like Byron Donalds have advanced continuously throughout this election cycle. The idea that we were better off in any way during the Jim Crow era.
During Jim Crow,
the black family was together.
Yeah, that's right.
During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative, because black people always have been conservative minded, but more black people voted conservatively.
It's worth noting that the black poverty rate has been falling ever since black people started receiving civil rights protections. It's almost as if these progressive policies worked.
Now, you mentioned Black Wall Street, brother, and I want to be very real with you.
Yeah.
Black Wall Street was Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood District, where black people built their own community, had their own self-sustained community, beautiful economy, making it for themselves, and white people destroyed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't policy. It was white people.
Well, it wasn't white people. It was.
No. Let's be very clear. It was white people.
No.
It
was those white people.
It was white people in that community. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And let me just say this: Elaine, Arkansas, Rosewood in Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Sweet Auburn District, North Nashville in Nashville, Tennessee. Each one of these communities were booming black economies, where white people, not in the same place, but it was the same group of people every time, destroyed those communities. So you can't say it's policy when when black people do what they need to do and build for themselves, and white people destroy it. Yeah. So why is it that you would frame it as a policy thing?
I didn't frame it as a policy thing.
We can rewind it.
You said it was white people.
You mentioned.
I said it wasn't white people. It was those white people. And the reason why I'm saying that is because now we're trying to categorize all white people as evil.
No.
And what I'm trying to say is, back then, because a lot of people don't know this, I'm gonna put this on record. Black Wall Street rebuilt themselves after that. 4 years after that, Black Wall Street rebuilt everything they had, and they prospered for the next 40 years.
That's a lie.
Policy came in and destroyed it because they decided to build a freeway over their town, and that destroyed. So what I'm saying is, if we look at policy and the cultural essence of most things, right? It's not just policy, it's culture.
I was trying to draw a distinction between the nature of progressive policy.
Our Christian rapping friend there, mistakenly, he's saying policy when they built the interstate through the city of Greenwood. It's redlining. You never heard of redlining and the effects of redlining and who they redlining?
Appropriation of property. Never heard of that.
Again, when you see the black mega, it's a question. If you found out your friend was mega, would that affect y'all's relationship?
Absolutely, because I would question myself, because how didn't I see this coming? How didn't I see that a person was more individual than collective? Because we always harp on here is cooperative economics, doing things together, community, blackness, moving forward together. This guy's been actually coming across my algorithm for quite some time. I checked out a few of his things and I like what I've seen.
The Christian rapper or the interviewer?
The interview guy.
Okay.
But I thought it was interesting that he pointed out that it's individualism versus community. You know what I mean? And that's what we always harp on. We harp on the fact that us as a people are more communal than individual, and we'll always be more successful as a community than we will be individually. So it's strange when I see people who I know who are maggots, you know what I'm saying, who support this guy and his policies and so on. So it really makes me have no respect for them, because that shows that they don't have any respect for us as a whole. You know what I mean? They don't understand, like, they're ignorant. And despite it's not like the 70s or the 80s where you had to dig into periodic tables and into libraries and to all this type of stuff. All you have to do is pick up your phone and find out the truth. And if you can post some ignorant shit, you can find out the truth just as fast. You know what I mean? So it's really disheartening. And when I see black maggots, black Christian nationalists, because I've seen those, I don't knock nobody's religion, because your soul is your soul, but I really truly can't understand how you can be a black Christian nationalist.
For me, they don't see themselves, first and foremost, they don't see themselves as you or I. They don't see themselves as black in order to even participate in any of that.
But these people that I know are literally, I like somebody who should know. It's not, it's not like you city honors kids, or it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not like those type of dudes. It's like just regular black dudes who should know that they're black, man. But And with all the available information that's out there, it's just hard for me to actually accept the fact that these guys don't have a clue of what's going on, man. It's just weird to me, man. It's weird, dog.
So just to guess, it was Byron Donalds, Tim Scott, the guy from Florida. It was 2 guys from Florida with all 5 of those dudes that were sitting at the table and laughing and proud that they won a white district. A white district. Thank you. I bet you every single last one of them have a European on their arm.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we talked about with the sports boys, you know what I'm saying? How far can you elevate it? You know what I mean? Is she a fetish symbol? Is he a fetish symbol? You know what I mean? Does it make it more passable in certain crowds? Do you have to have a person of a different race to get in certain doors? You know what I mean? When it comes to certain things, I think that's what JD Vance is suffering with right now. He's got a situation where he's married to an Indian, and he's in the Republican Party, and they are racist at the core. I'm saying
they've been racist to him and his wife. So,
yeah. So it's different to see that, and this is what I always mystifies me about Trump voters. You will overlook every possible thing wrong. This guy's a convicted sexual assaulter. He's a convicted fraudster. He's on trial right now for trying to steal an election. He incited a riot. He locked kids in cages. You know what I mean? If you look past all of that to vote for this dude, all of that, something is truly wrong with you in your concept of America.
We talk all the time about community over what?
Capital.
Right. So this next story is a wild story. But again, we live in America. So it's capitalism basically over everything. And that's the reason why we are in the situation that we are in this great country that we live in right now, is because capitalism is so prevalent in what we do. There's a story about an elder in the great state of Virginia, man. Let me show you this real quick.
Yep.
Every woman ought to have one of these.
Come on.
It's one of those things that when people see one, then they want one. Same thing with the Confederate hat. You know why? Because people don't think you have the nerve to do it.
Joanne Price runs a Trump store in Christiansburg, Virginia.
When Joe Biden announced he wouldn't run for president again, was there any part of you who felt a pull to vote for Harris?
No, absolutely not. I would not vote for either one of them. I would not vote Democrat ticket. No way.
This is a white privilege card. And this is just a play. It just says this card trumps everything, and it gives a barrier, happiness and success because of the color of the skin.
And who buys that?
White people.
Okay.
It's funny.
And then when you give it to a state trooper, they'll let you go. Won't write you a ticket.
You think so?
I've experienced
Yeah.
it.
Wait, really?
And then he said, okay, he laughed at it and gave it back to me and did not write me a ticket.
This actually happened at least once elsewhere. In 2022, a woman claimed Alaska police let her go without a ticket when she flashed a white privilege card instead of a driver's license.
It's humorous to us. It really is. It's humorous to the average American that here.
Trump has been working to appeal to Black voters, and polls showed some success when Biden was still in the race, but have since gone down.
The Trump campaign this year has made a big effort to reach out to Black voters. What do you think of their efforts?
I think their efforts are succeeding tremendously. All the things that have happened to President Trump, the attacks on him, have done nothing more than strengthen Black people's connection to him, because now he's someone who is the target of a struggle, and they have always felt that they've been a target. I did prison ministries for 5 years. If you're a convicted felon and then somebody else is a convicted felon, there's a camaraderie there.
Donald Trump attacked Kamala Harris, questioning her racial identity. She's Black.
Promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black.
He's acknowledged his commentary has provoked mixed reactions. Price is just one person and not a swing voter. But we were curious what she made of his comments, given that she's a Black woman and fervent Trump supporter and former local Republican Party chair.
How do you make sense of how Trump talks about Vice President Kamala Harris, that he suggests that he doesn't understand her biracial background, that first she was Indian and then she was Black? What do
I
you
don't
make
understand
of
it either. She's Indian and she's Jamaican.
Yeah.
Is she Black?
Do you not think she's Black?
Is she? Was she born here?
Yes.
Yes. Were her parents citizens? No.
Okay. But we have birthright citizenship in America.
Mm-hmm. We call that anchor.
People can't immigrate here and not be citizens, but have green cards and work permits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. However, she can claim to be Black because of her Jamaican father. That's her right. We're a melting pot because I basically have a combination in my family.
No shit.
How do you reconcile that? Like, you have a history of blended families in your family. How do you reconcile that with Trump seeming to not understand how Kamala Harris could have a blended family herself?
She could have a blended family. What I'm saying is his comments about that, I think he's making a point. And I'm not so disturbed by that.
But what is the point he's making?
The point he's making simply is that she is not a Black person.
There were some mixed views on the idea of a woman president.
We here at the Soup, man, we try to bring thought-provoking content to the masses. And I know this particular episode has been a lot on Black folks being ignorant to the facts. But it's a lot of us out there that are ignorant to the facts. And those people who are ignorant to the facts and speak matter-of-factly are super dangerous.
That's right.
When you saw this interview, this piece on CNN, did your mind go to capitalism because she's making money off of this nonsense? Or did it go to self-hate?
It went to Stockholm syndrome. It's like you say, self-hate. She's obviously been so. See, this is my thing, right? And I don't know how more defined I can say this, but I love America. I love the idea of America. The fact that we're free, we can walk around, we can go from here to there. If I wanted to get up and just go anywhere I could, wherever I want, without any bounds. I love America. You know what I mean? I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, whatever. It's all good. But what I don't like is I don't like the fact that it's not the concept and the idea of America isn't accessible to all people. Because there are certain parts of America where we can't have things the way that we have them because of the fact of the color of our skin. Now, she may not think that's important, but as I discussed in the first pod I was on, once you turn the corner and someone sees you, they make up their mind about what you're about. It's your job to let them know once you get up on them of where you stand. And if you stand in a place where you're saying that you're not for the same people as you, like you say, that's self-hate. That's a problem. And money should not be a dividing force among us. Money should be a unifying force among us. And I just really don't understand. And I get individualism, I get freedom of choice and all that stuff, man, but I just don't get people not wanting all of Americans to be great and to prosper, especially if you're Black and you're a Black person. It doesn't make any sense to me. And she doesn't either.
During the DNC day, Kamala Harris was talking about her moms, right? And she said her moms always told her and her sister, don't let people think who you are. Show them. Just watching that piece there, man, it was disturbing. As all of this whole episode of The Soup is really a disturbing, because it's a phenomenon that's going on within our culture, man, that we need to gain control of. And as I said earlier with Don Lemon in his interview, we don't know how many people he interviewed and how many people he chose to show He might have just chose to show the people who said the ignorant shit that they said. Hopefully, he left a lot of people on the cutting room floor. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, prayerfully. Because like I say, man, that ignorance is super dangerous. And when I see that older woman selling Confederate paraphernalia, it's how could you peddle in that? Knowing what that flag meant to us as a people. That's basically horror when you see that Dixie flag. There's no good of that. And obviously, as we always say, we live in a capitalist generation, a capitalist country. So people are going to capitalize on any and everything. And she's obviously, this is going to be hot for her until she checks in, you know, because all of that shit that she has, whether Trump wins or not, is going to be in demand. It'll be a collector's item. These yahoos will want to have it so that they have it just because.
Yeah,
but it's disturbing for her to sit up there, and we all know due to her skin tone that she's had a blended family. It's evident as the day is long. And for her to sit up there and try to question, oh, he's Jamaican and her mother is Indian. It's like they say, it only takes one drop
of black blood, that's right,
to be considered black. That ain't something we made up. That's something that these Europeans made decades, centuries ago.
Eugenics, no doubt.
The brown paper bag, that whole typical thing, man. We're going to close this episode out, man. But again, I just had a lot on my mind, man. I know we usually don't go this long or this high. When I see that and I see our people out there just being plain ignorant, like you said, you've had an encounter with somebody that is extended family, that is talking crazy and then thinking that what he's saying, he putting it down. That's the whole reason why I got off Facebook way back when Trump got elected, because I couldn't stand to see every day people that I considered friends or family getting caught up in the propaganda and stupidness. And I'm definitely not going to spend my time up there battling you because I've got better things to do, but I definitely don't have to put up with the foolishness. And that's the reason why I got off Facebook, 10 years ago, you know, because I couldn't, it was too much of Trump praise on, especially when Kanye came out for Trump back then. The crackbook went crazy. Everybody was just, when he co-signed Trump, everybody was pro-Trump. And I couldn't understand it, man. I was like, you know what, man, that's all I can stand. Then I can't stand no more. You know what I mean? Peace.
I dig it. I dig it, man. I have a similar love-hate relationship with social media because I'm still on Facebook, because I still make money on Facebook to a certain extent. But that's literally the only reason I'm on there. But Facebook has generally shown me who is who, whether it be white people I used to work with back in Buffalo as far as a bill collector, white people I've known from high school, black people I've known from high school, black people. It's really shown me more so about Buffalo people than Atlanta people. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy part, right? Because for me, I expect all Buffalo black people to have a sense of pride. You know what I'm saying? We all basically knew each other. If I didn't know you, you knew somebody I didn't know, and I knew somebody you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all basically tightly knit, hardworking, blue-collar families. Whether your family was from downtown or whether your family was from Bailey, it's just a matter of whether, you know what I'm saying, how your parents applied, you know what I'm saying, their income. But we all still were in common, you know what I'm saying? And to see the craziness that I see from black people I be like, yo, where's this coming from? You're not that dude. This is not you. Are you that downtrodden at 50 plus that you have to vote for someone because they gave you $1,200?
it's crazy. It's almost being with Trump, going for Trump is the cool thing. That's the cool thing to do.
It's for attention, dog. It's for attention. That's all it is. I think people just want attention. I don't think they really want to vote for this dude. I think it's really about attention. Honestly, I really don't. Because anybody, unless you was a white, paranoid coal miner in Virginia, some bullshit, you should not vote for Trump. Or you're a billionaire. If you not want either a billionaire or some white trash and that lost their job to a Mexican, which you probably didn't, but you know what I'm saying, who ain't smoking, man, come on. No, don't vote for that dude, man. It's no reason as a person with the vote that you should vote with Trump, whether you're black, white, Mexican, red, green, brown, purple, or pink. Don't vote for that dude. It's a whole different America after June 5th.
I like the way you painted that.
But what I want to talk about real quick this week was something that I think is something we all can relate to. Right now, we're going into a period where people are going to be very adamant about their opinions. They're going to be very adamant about who you should vote for and why you shouldn't vote for this person. This person is black and this person is orange and this person is this and this person is that. What we always tell people to vote for their interests, but I'm going to circle back to this. What I said earlier, I love America. I love my friends. I love the way that we're able to communicate. I love the fact that we are able to travel from here to there. I can go to see Les. If I wanted to, tonight I can hop in my car and go see Les. He has stayed away. It's no border patrol waiting there for me. It's nobody checking my cards or anything like that. Obviously, my car is insured. My license is good. So I'm free to go where I want to go as long as I want. This is America, land of the free, home of the brave, man. For people not to want things to continue the way that they are truly disillusioned. This is a beautiful place. We have opportunity. And that's all we ever ask for as black people. We don't want handouts. The majority of black people don't want handouts. We want opportunities to be free just like everybody else. And if you want to be free or have the opportunity and progress, don't vote for Donald Trump. And that's all I got to say.
I second that. That was well said, my G. So this was the latest and the greatest episode of The Soup, man. We just want y'all to do your math, man. Don't get caught up on what celebs is saying, like JD, who's talking foolishness while he's walking 5 miles, or Dr. Umar.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism.
Who's spewing. I'm not even going to say spitting. He's spewing nonsense to get views so that he can debate Ricky Smiley and DL Hughley and Steve Hargrave. Like that's gonna happen. Again, y'all, Kamala Harris is for the people, man. Good, bad, or different. Donald Trump is out for him. He ain't out for us.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, it's the same old soup, man. We just reheating it. P, we'll see you next week, P. Peace.
No doubt, y'all. Later.